Hello and welcome to this week's video. My name is Anuska Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am talking about, are you misperceiving your voice? Really important topic, so stay tuned for that. But before I get going, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also like, comment and share my videos if you enjoy them. Also, if you are looking for some personal private support, you can book a 60-minute Reclaim Your Voice session. Now, you can book this as a one-off if you have a particular goal or particular event that you're working towards, or you can book it to get a direct experience of how I can help you and what's possible with your voice. So these are really, really powerful sessions. My approach is both on the psychology and the emotional side of the voice, as well as the technical functional aspects of the voice. And your voice is very emotional, so you have to address both of them. And don't forget as well, I do have my 8-month Speak with Impact private voice coaching program if you're really ready to go deep and create lasting change with your voice. So the links are below, and also feel free to reach out if you have any questions. So let's get going then with this idea of misperceiving our voice. This became more apparent to me last week. I was running a small group session at an organization, and what I do when I do these small group sessions is I work with each person individually in front of the group. Now, that might sound a bit mean, but it's actually really helpful. It's helpful for the group because we can see a lot of ourselves in everyone because we're all connected, but also what you perceive as other people's struggles, you might resonate with yourself. So there's that sense of it. And I think it can be a great training tool for everyone. But also the key point I think that came from this for me, and what I see with private clients, but it's just so much more powerful in a group, was people really misperceive their voice. So how they think they're coming across when they speak versus how everyone else is perceiving them. And yes, to some extent it's subjective, of course, but across the board, when people were speaking, and then I would give them some tips or tools or techniques to open their voice up, to access more expression, to access more power, to access greater dynamics, the person in question was like, oh no, this is too much. This is too expressive, too over the top, too out there. You know, people are going to think I sound ridiculous. This is too performative. But actually, everyone in the room is like, no, that just sounds expressive. It just sounds confident and powerful. It doesn't sound over the top. But it sounds over the top to you because that's the voice you're used to. So coming back to the psychology behind the voice, which is a big part of my work, of course, if you're used to using your voice in a particular way, then anything outside of that is really a threat. It's really quite a scary place to be. If you're used to pulling your voice back into your throat, if you're used to mumbling, if you're not used to speaking particularly loudly or expressively, then when you do start to do those things, it's going to feel very, very uncomfortable. Now, I should point out that the people in the group, their main concern was almost emotionally how they felt. Physically, the voice will always feel better when you are stepping into your true voice and the voice is really allowed to physically come out. But here I'm talking very much about psychologically. There was a real fear that they didn't want to sound too silly, stand out too much, too over the top. So is that you? Do you listen to yourself and perhaps do some exercises that you found off a YouTube video, or someone said to you, well, you need to be a bit more expressive, and then you go away and you try it and you're like, oh no, this sounds a bit stupid, like I sound too expressive. It's really normal to feel this, and this is why you need to work with someone, because otherwise you will just keep pulling your voice back. Your voice has been created mostly unconsciously to keep you safe. So that's going to vary from person to person. So anything outside of that safety zone, that comfort zone, your ego is going to resist. It's going to say, no, you can't start being that dynamic, that powerful, that confident, that expressive. Go back to doing what you were doing before, because that's socially acceptable. Because the other thing I hear as well is people are really worried what other people will think of them. So, as in, people will notice that their voice has changed. And I hear this all the time. You know, people will say, well, if I start speaking like that, people will notice that I'm doing something different. So, you could see a lot of the psychology of we worry what people think. Most of these, we're worrying what people think about us. It really holds your voice back. And so if you don't do the inner work, if you don't start to step into your true nature and your true voice and do that inner work around the shadow, you are always going to be limited by your voice, because you are going to be held back by your mind telling you you're too much, it's too this, it's too that. People won't like you. No one likes it when you're too out there, too expressive, too over the top. People don't like it. So really, really important if you want to create change. And as I say, in a group, it's really helpful because people aren't just going to agree with me for the sake of agreeing with me. You can tell when someone's just going along for the ride. And unanimously, in every case, it was like, yes, this voice just sounds more engaging and more interesting. So I challenge you to access some parts of your voice that maybe are outside your comfort zone. Start to play around with the edges of your voice in terms of pitch and intonation, in terms of expression and dynamics, in terms of power, because so many of us fear the power that we hold. And the voice is incredibly powerful. And that's one of the things when I work with people privately, particularly, and we start to kind of remove some of the brakes people put on their voice, the muscular brakes, the constriction through the throat, the jaw, the neck, the tongue, the lips, etc. The voice then becomes free. And when the voice is free, you can be heard. And that is what terrifies people. People are terrified of their own power. So you need someone to help you navigate that, because we're really taught in society to stay a victim, to stay small, to not stick out, to just sort of fly under the radar, because people don't like it when you are too much, too successful, too wealthy, too this, too that. So we all sort of try and stay in this kind of comfort zone. But we're not really being true. We're not really being authentic. We're just trying to fit in. You know, I don't want to be too bad, but I don't want to be too good either. I'm just trying to sort of live in the middle. And I'm not really allowing myself to step into my power. So if this resonates with you at all, please do get in touch, because as I say, it's incredibly hard to do by yourself. But your mind will talk you out of going towards this more expressive, more powerful voice, because it's from your ego's perspective, death to your current identity. So we have to sort of navigate that, integrate what you're trying to run away from, and then you are truly free. And that's why my private program is 8 months, because this is a journey and a process. However, if you don't want to spend 8 months working on your voice, even just doing a 1-hour session, we can start to sort of open up your voice, and I can start to sort of at least shine a light on where you might be holding yourself back. So I hope that's been helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, please give me a like and leave a comment. And as I say, if I can help you in any way, all the links are below. I would love to support you. And until next time, I'll see you then.